Evening Speed Gaming. Tonight we have the race of all races. This is a 15-way race among all of these top Super Metroid runners, all as part of the Super Metroid Randomizer Multi-Category Tournament 2022. Also featuring our new stream layout with player cams. That's exciting. So you're going to see Zeb on the left, Bonus on the right, and then with crew, we have Jestro on tracking. I'm Aussie, hey. And then with me is Count Cranberry. So how you doing, Cranberry?
I am doing fantastic. This last week without any races has just been, it's like there's been a void in my life. I've been a thirsty man in the desert, and I am about to get my thirst quenched.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, we're back to races. Had a bit of a break. And we're just now finding out what they're actually racing. The runners all had to prepare for any number of the week settings, and we are hit with week 6. And week 6 settings, it's going to be Chozo item placement, late area, map randomization, and then the bosses will be shuffled. And so we'll see how the runners play that out and how well they've prepared for this, since they didn't know what was coming.
Yeah, the Chozo logic is always interesting for me because it throws some interesting twists into the logic. Things like you need Charge Beam in order to kill Croc or Batoon and Ridley. So, just things that you don't find in other item randomizers, which is a lot of fun to see sometimes. It gives you a little bit more thinking as you're kind of going through and figuring out what items can be where.
It also changes up the distribution of the majors, so different areas become more or less relevant in this setting. Like Croc, for example, is just going to have the one major down at grapple, and so that's an often skip check if you can get away with it.
Yep, and if you haven't found Charge Beam yet, then you can pretty much guarantee that whatever logical item for progression you're looking for isn't going to be behind Croc. So I can definitely see why Croc gets a little less love in the Chozo weeks, but you never know. Randomizer going to randomize.
And another part of Chozo I like to keep track of is this early game, where we don't have any minors yet, and the only minors in logic are the ones on these Chozo statues here. So now they have supers in logic. And so you can deduce where some items are placed by keeping track of the logic.
Because if I remember correctly, in Chozo you've got 2 missiles, 2 super missiles, 1 power bomb, and then I think it's 3 E-tanks and a reserve tank.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so
vanilla E-tank here.
Yep, and that's not a logical E-tank. So while it'll make, hell runs or anything like that more comfortable for our runners, it's not logically going to be required.
Yep. So E-tanks are another thing that we're going to be keeping track of. It's pretty much 3 E-tanks / the reserve to put hell runs in logic. And that can help narrow down where Varia is. But with this seed, we don't have power bombs early, so they don't get the option of going left to check that area transition. But in late area, I'm okay not making that check.
Yeah, and for anyone out there who doesn't know what light area is, what the game's done is it's split the game up into different kind of thematic areas. You've got kind of your criteria, blue brinstar, you've got green brinstar, your west and east meridia, etc. So rather than being fully randomized, where any transition between areas can lead to any other area transition, the areas will maintain their normal connections. So criteria, for example, will have 1 connection to wrecked ship, 1 connection to Turian, 2 to green brinstar, and then 1 to red brinstar. but it will randomize which connections those are. So you might go through a portal, on the other side of moat, expecting to find wrecked ship, and it might be Turian. Or you might go through a different portal and find the back of wrecked ship rather than the front.
Yep. And it's also going to turn those connection doors into gray doors, which could have been relevant, but now they have bombs, and having bombs can open up many more options. So we're going to see a 230 missile check right after this BT fight. Then maybe Gauntlet, or maybe checking area transitions.
Yeah, bombs with one E-tank for Gauntlet. It's a scary check, but definitely doable.
Yeah, getting into top 16, it becomes more expected that you can pull it off. So if the runners think they have to make that play, then I'm expecting them to go for it. But we do have suit restriction on since they started the ship, so we're not going to find Varia or Gravity up there. So it's a little bit less valuable.
We do see Zeb picking up, in a lot of runners, in my opinion, the best beam, Wave Beam.
Big agree.
Nice little damage boost. Also means that not going to need to do any reverse blue missile door skips.
Yeah, it's just going to clear out all these enemies in one hit. Big damage. Goes through walls. Has so many features.
And looks like we are going to see a little bit of route divergence. Zeb heading down Terminator, finding that set of power bombs, but Bonus heading back to the landing site and probably going to be seeing a gauntlet check here.
Yeah, Zeb has said that he doesn't like the gauntlet check because in Chozo, he feels that the seeds play out too fast to spend the time to make that check. And in getting power bombs right after is already set for like minors, where the back two minor items would be a reason you'd want to do gauntlet, like not just for the one major.
Yeah, especially if those back two miners are E-tanks. I know in week 6, a lot of runners had trouble finding energy. Energy was at a premium, so any chance you can get to fill up those E-tank blocks, you're going to want to try and take. But I definitely understand, Zeb's thinking. Because it is light area as well, the runners are going to have to route back through criteria at some point to find Turian. And so if, later in the seed you deduce through Chozo logic that there's something good there, maybe charge, you can always loop back and pick it up then.
Yeah, if you put off Gauntlet, it's probably like more common to figure out if your only bomb pack is going to be there. In this seed, you can't tell that since they're given morph bombs and supers so early. Just Spazer. So Spazer, it's nice damage increase, but they already have wave. Spazer's not it's not that great to find.
We will see what those minor items in the back are, though.
So yeah, supers are still good. We know power bombs are at Terminator, and then E-tanks are also going to be a good find for when they eventually get to Upper Norfair.
I was going to make a comment, with the back of Gauntlet coming out just to the left of that Terminator door. I was about to say, I hope Bonus, remembers to turn around and grab that Terminator item, because I know I forgot to pick it up in one of my races back during the 7 weeks. So hopefully, we'll see him pick that up.
Yeah, it's not always something you remember to do.
Zeb, meanwhile, making quick work of green brinstar.
Yeah, the Chozo statues in green brinstar are Charge Beam, Spore Spawn Supers, and the Reserve here. And now Zeb's checked all 3 and found High Jump, Grapple, and Screw Attack, which are all really nice items, but not quite progression, but very nice to have this early.
Yeah, the high jump and grapple combination is especially good, at least for me when I was playing for randomized bosses, which is also on this week. You find Dragon early, you could potentially take him on without a suit because you got that escape method with the high jump boots and the grapple beam.
Right. We have bosses shuffled, so they're going to be looking for a way to defeat any boss. Like running into a boss that you can't beat is just going to be a time loss. So you want to prepare yourself to beat any boss. And then also with Chozo and light area, you can use that high jump and grapple to sort of go through Meridia if you plan on skipping Gravity Suit. And it's something that I expect to see in like half of these seeds as a way to route well. But we'll see if it actually comes up.
Yeah, as a runner, you never really want to be doing suitless Meridia, but as a viewer, it's always don't find gravity, don't find gravity.
It's just these settings are the ones where I expect the runners to want to have their RBO strats practice.
Yep, for sure.
So Zeb's going back to criteria to check more area transitions. I didn't see if we got both of the left side checks.
I believe we did. The normal Turian entrance is tube in Red Brinstar.
Right, I remember seeing that. So that could... that sounds like a good play. Going right is also good.
Yeah, knowing which transition is Turian definitely helps. Although they are right next to each other, so you can kind of deduce it logically. And Zeb might actually be going back for a gauntlet check.
Yeah, going to the right would be the Torian and Rex ship entrances. Red Tower would be the one to go for like more items overall. That's on the left side.
Yeah, with Boss Rando on, it feels like Wrecked Ship is really discouraged early on because you only have a 1 in 4 chance that the boss is actually going to provide you with any items.
Yeah, might be able to kill Dragon here. Health is still pretty low to consider that like a good play to go for. But taking this screw attack to Gauntlet is just going to have a faster trip through this. Then continue down to Red Tower. So Red Tower, it's going to have the one entrance into Upper Norfair, 3 Meridias, and a green brinstar, plus the one that he's going to exit out through. Then for items, there's Spazer, X-Ray, and Alpha Peeps. So 3 checks to go through. And we'll just see how the layout plays into how they route this.
Yeah, it could be interesting, breaking there, glitching through the tube, checking these right transitions. If Upper Norfair is there, do you check Upper Norfair first, or do you head up Red Tower and hope that one of those spots has heat protection?
And now that Zeb has done Gauntlet, we can see that he's taken a bit of a lead early on in this race. Bonus just getting to Blue Brinstar now, going to go back through. Has to go all the way through Green Brinstar to get to the other Red Tower entrance. And so they might end up routing these differently.
I do have to say I like the way Zeb routed it. just the way the portals worked out, it worked out kind of in his favor that he could go back up and check that gauntlet check and then make it to the tube entrance. But it just kind of worked out for him that he didn't have to backtrack too much. Although I suppose you could debate whether coming all the way up from meme route to gauntlet is faster than going all the way back down green brinstar.
It's a very long path either way.
But Zeb
What is
finding
it?
plasma beam at Spazer. That's going to be a nice beam power increase.
Yeah, we get a lot of nice items yet. I haven't seen too many of those ammo/E-tank Chozo statues yet. Still keeping an eye on those. And they can use this grapple to make an easy X-ray check. But Steve's kind of setting them up to just go through the areas and check all the Chozos on the way.
Yeah, but hasn't been any real roadblocks yet.
Right. And then as you were saying, wreck ship is a little discouraged in boss shuffle because you don't know what boss is going to be there.
I mean, if you do an early wreck ship check and it's Fantoon, that could be huge depending on what items are there. I know in one of my races in the week that's what happened, and it just was a major boon for whoever checked it.
I suppose X-ray wasn't in logic yet with that power bombs. But we do get the second super pack there. There's only one power bomb pack on a statue, and haven't seen that yet, but they have seen morph bombs. And also you need power bombs to get to wreck ship. Maybe. Vanilla map you would.
There's our one entry into Upper Norfair. Croc.
So one E-tank. That itself doesn't put anywhere in logic. It takes two. But you're kind of expecting three for the seed to want you to actually go through there.
Kind of makes you wonder if this Alpha PB is going to be an E-tank. Or Varia.
Just a Varia suit. Okay, so you follow that into Upper Norfair. You can also do Lower Norfair, because you got high jump. Or screw tag makes it kind of easy.
Yeah, it's a pretty comfortable back entrance. Front entrance would be still comfortable, but not great, I feel like. Although between plasma beam and screw attack, you know, you're feeling pretty comfy.
I know I'm used to thinking of Lower Norfair entry as through that lava dive, but playing late area so you can get to the back easily enough.
Zeb being able to deduce that the top two Red Tower transitions are going to be Meridia transitions, just head straight back down for Upper Norfair, and please head toward Business Center, which I think is probably the right play with two Chozo statues on that side, which are pretty quick checks.
Yep. Over here, Business Center is going to be high jump and ice beam, whereas going to Bubble Mountain would have wave and speed. So two either way. But these ones are a little closer together.
And really, two transitions on both sides. You've got the two transitions at the top of the Business Center elevator. And then you've got the two, one at Single Chamber and one at Gravitron or Lava Dive entrance. Whichever terminology you want to use. I think that door has like 3 names.
Yeah, it has a lot of names. I've been calling it Chronic Boost.
That's how I started. That's why I started calling it, and then everyone started calling it Gravitron, and so I tried switching over, and now I'm just confused, so I start calling it Lava Dive.
Yeah, Lava Dive is what I used to call it forever. I'm not even sure where Gravitron comes from. But to me, it's Chronic Booster Room.
Zeb making that little mock ball look easy. Slide right under the gate without speed booster. Looks like Bonus is heading up to check these upper red brinstar transitions. So gonna find the Meridia portals, and could be good information to have.
There's a charge beam.
That opens up the seed considerably, at least from a logical standpoint. Croc is in logic now. You know, maybe gravity could be behind Croc. We are still looking for Botwoon access, though.
Yeah, that's the big one. You want Ice Beam to get through. And then Speed plus Gravity be another way. Zeb can't do the suitless Crystal Flash clip. If it comes to that. In Chozo Seeds, Gravity Suit's never going to be in any of the Meridia checks. So it's a little more likely that you run into Gravity while looking around. The big question, kind of with these modes, is if you go to Wreck Ship or not, and try to get your Gravity there.
Yeah, I mean, Wrecked Ship, it's got 3 Chozo statues, but it's just, the checks are just so long. And with light area, it really does route well, kind of towards the end of the seed, so. Looks like we got another little bit of divergence bonus heading into Upper Norfair, deciding to go the Purple Mountain route.
Yeah, this will be interesting divergence. We'll get to see what's over on these items, while Zeb makes the slow play through Croc. Probably just since he was already here, clear this out. Because I think ideally you'd want to do the other checks first and then come back to Croc if you had to.
Yeah, I think the downside is the Croc portal is in such an area that you'd have to go, if you went Lower Norfair through the back as Bonus is doing, you'd have to go reverse Lava Dive to come out, you know, the front side on that opposite side of the Upper Business Center area. Otherwise, you're running all the way back through to Upper Norfair.
I want to point out they're still checking miners, if just for more E-tanks, to make this Lower Norfair play a little more cozy. 1 E-tank means you die in 2 hits.
Yeah, no matter your loadout, Lower Norfair is not to be trifled with.
Yep. Bonus is in Lower Norfair already, and that's a required place to complete. So is working directly towards progression, where Zeb is making other checks. Gets Spring Ball, which helps enable a suitless Meridia.
Probably not what Zeb was hoping for, but it is one more tool in the toolbox.
Yeah, pretty much. Also not really checking any of these other miners. They are a door transition and more away. So not the most convenient checks.
Yeah, and at this point with Charge Beam, you know, Zeb is pretty much only looking for E-tanks. So probably just checking the things that are along the way, or, you know, very easily diverted. But, you know, door transition is probably just too much at this point. He might be feeling crunched a little bit too, having found Spring Ball with Croc kind of coming up as a blank.
Maybe sees the Croc play as a way to like place poorly in this race, like where there's so many runners here. If you miss a gravity suit at Croc, then you can fall way behind off of that.
Yep, a little bit of insurance for sure. It does introduce an interesting dynamic with the play-in race. 15 runners playing the same seed. There's a different strategy that's involved. It feels like you're playing a little bit different than when you're just one-on-one facing another racer. It feels like.
Yeah, certainly be a question to ask them once this is over. How they're deciding to play this differently.
For sure. Bonus heading in. We're gonna see our first boss of the match, and we've got Kraid chilling in Lower Norfair.
Meanwhile, Zeb's side, we get the screw attack check. That's a check that you normally would like to skip, but checking to see if it pays out. And we get a nice quick kill on Bonus's side.
And speed booster behind Kraid. That will be a nice movement boost for Bonus.
Yep, coming out a little better for Bonus. Speed going to help just in Upper Norfair with cleaning up that checks. Gets the good movement item earlier, so it gets more of an advantage off of it. Where Zeb's going to pick it up a little later. And can't really leverage Spring Ball or X-Ray.
Although Zeb does now have, the microwave beam, and with both Vantoon and Dragon still at large, that should be, a time save. Probably not, enough to make up for the GT check, but definitely better than a straight blank.
And also, coming from the front of Lower Norfair is a slower entry. We're kind of at a decision point for a Bonus. They want to check screw attack or not. It would save a lot of time to skip that check.
If you're a Bonus in this situation, what do you do?
If it were me in this situation, I'd like to make the check. I think Bonus may feel that they want to save that minute or two. I guess it's more than that. But may feel that they need to make some kind of play to save time against the other runners here. I mean, actually, if it was me, I might skip it just because I don't like screw attack.
Yeah, it's such an awkward check. It's not, close to being on route. Yeah, not my favorite check either. But Bonus now out of Lower Norfair with the boss defeated. Looks like heading up into Bubble Mountain.
So yeah, I think we can say for now that Bonus gained a lead since Zeb's proc and screw attack plays didn't work out, but does need to find that charge beam. Need to take a bit of time to go pick that up, or else it's going to spend a lot of the seed picking up ammo.
And we know, by virtue of having seen both runners' tracks, that Kraid's lair is going to be over here at Single Chamber. But we should see Bonus hit Business Center before leaving Lower Norfair. I can't imagine skipping those two checks.
Yeah, and having speed is going to make that a lot more convenient. Getting in and getting out, like for making those checks. Once they're done with Upper Norfair, they do have to leave out through that Crockmire door. It's the only way out of this area.
Zeb putting 4 supers right into Kraid's mouth. Makes the Kraid quick kill look easy. And is rewarded for his efforts with Speed Booster.
Yeah, that's what we've come to expect from these potential top 16 runners. We're watching the big play-in race. 15 runners playing for 12 spots to make it into top 16. And the settings were randomly picked. Runners were only told the settings just before the race started, so they had to prepare for it. All the various modes that we played over these 7 weeks. And this week we got the week 6 settings of Chozo, item placement, light area, and boss shuffle.
Speaking of Chozo, bonus finding one of those Chozo E-tanks.
Yeah, it's just the reserve tank and an E-tank over here on the Bubble Mountain side. So it doesn't feel too good to be doing your Norfair checks and only find E-tanks.
For sure. But of course, those tanks, you got to get them to finish the game. Bonus at least has the energy to finish the game now. So that's a plus. And, they're going to show up eventually. So why not here?
Yep. Craze Lair is also forced to be attached to Upper Norfair. But we're going to see in just a minute which boss will be down here. Still a little wary of Dragon and probably Ridley too. Health isn't the safest for Ridley fight.
Yep, high jump boots, screw attack makes Ridley a little more comfortable, but in Bonus's case, without charge beam, we're going to be looking at an ammo kill, and definitely has the ammo to do it, but with the number of supers, should have full supers, but not a lot of wiggle room on the super shots. And it just, increases the amount of time if you miss any of those supers that it takes to finish them off. You definitely don't want to get into having to powerbomb Ridley.
Especially late in the fight. That's how you take extra hits. But here's that suitless Dragon that we've been wondering about. They have high jump and grapple, so getting out would be through a grapple jump. And unlike Zeb, the bonus doesn't have the microwave beam. So I have to see how he decides to play this fight. You can do it ammo only, but that's kind of tricky to not get hit. And going for a grapple kill is kind of similar, where they don't really have the health to afford any hits at all. Excellent. It's the kill.
Yep, first try, making it look easy. And I mean, that's the thing when you're watching runners of this caliber, the top 16. So many of these things that look easy on stream are actually pretty difficult to set up. I know that, it looked like Bonus just got over to the left side and kind of jumped when Dragon was over there, but it takes pretty precise, maneuvering to be in the right spot, to be at the right height when Dragon picks you up, to make that grapple connect. So just a shout out to the skill of the runners and what they're doing.
It's also
yeah, go ahead.
It's also a different setup with these various loadouts, like the timing of your jump when you don't have a suit, and if you have high jump versus not. It's a lot of variations on the same thing. It's just so many situations to practice for these randomizer races.
We talked about high jump boots and grapple beam being used to escape Dragon. That is not an easy trick to do. I had to practice during the weeks, probably 2.5 hours just to get it to work once, more or less be consistent at it. So, seeing Bonus just, run over there, grapple over and jump right on up, it's again, a testament.
Yeah, it's plain to win. But now we're back to decision points. I think we were expecting him to go over to our business center, check high jump and ice beam. Because the alternative would be wreck ship, really. I guess we've seen all the majors here, haven't we? So Gravity has to be wreck ship.
Yep, we've seen all the majors in red brinstar as well, and it can't be in either of the Meridians. So somebody's hiding it in wreck ship.
So this will be Zeb with all the information on having checked all these locations, but is also doesn't have Ice Beam for Meridia, so maybe that's a reason to go to wreck ship for gravity, whether you can do Meridia on the loadout or not.
Bonus checking Norfair Reserve. Not sure if Bonus is looking for E-tanks. I mean, probably have the best outcome you could hope for there, but Norfair Reserve is not a major in this category. So maybe he's also looking for ammo without having found Charge Beam yet. But an interesting play. It is, 3 miners, so.
Right. These locations are great for miner density, but aren't going to have any of the majors. It shows those statues there. Yeah, it could be supers that they're looking for, but we know that Charge Beam's over here at Ice Beam.
Yep, just a couple checks, giving Zeb a little bit of time to bridge that gap.
Yeah, that could count as a bit of time save for Zeb in finding the Charge Beam earlier. Knows that he doesn't have to worry about ammo at all.
Yeah, but as you pointed out earlier, we're still pretty low on energy, so we're still seeing some of those minor checks. Speed booster, though, making the traversal between Bubble Mountain and Business Center pretty easy for Bonus. But it looks like Zeb is headed on out.
Yeah, so I'd expect to see a wreck ship play from Zeb. That would be coming down through the tube. You'd have to break the tube and go back up.
Yep, and with high jump boots, at least if you break the tube and you miss kind of the quote-unquote glitch jump, you can still make it up there, which is nice. You don't just have one shot.
Yeah, that's a Charge Beam for Bonus. He only has Croc and Screw Attack left here. Both very slow checks. So possible Bonus leaves Upper Norfair now too.
Yep, by deduction, Bonus knows what those 2 portals are at the top. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bonus turns around and heads back out, but you never know. The allure of Croc has captivated many a runner.
Yeah, the allure of being here in the Norfair area where there's 2 checks, where if you skip them now, you're never coming back for them.
Bonus stopped and thought about it. We saw him stop there.
Okay. Gonna take the time save. Heading back out, following Zeb's footsteps. As Zeb enters the wreck ship area, you also need high jump boots to go through this path into the wreck ship. And we could see either boss here. We could see a Fantoon to open up the wreck ship items, or we could see a Ridley with that 1 major, since they already have Charge Beam. The Ridley item would be in logic.
And we know that if it's Ridley, it has to be Gravity behind Ridley, I believe. Because we've seen every other logical check.
That's correct. Bonus actually going up Red Tower, and both of these are going to be Meridia entrances.
If I remember correctly, Bonus checked these. So interested to see what his routing strategy is here. to answer Zero in chat, Bonus did find a third E-Tank at Norfair Reserve, which Zeb did not check.
Okay, who do we get? It's Fantoon.
Zeb rewarded with Fantoon and 3 extra checks afterwards. Or I guess I should say up to, depending on at what point we find gravity.
Yeah. Now, Zeb gets to wonder to himself, who in the race tried to gamble on wreck ship early? Come to wreck ship early, you get your gravity suit, wherever it is, and then just have a much faster rest of the seed from there.
Yeah, it would actually be pretty smooth routing, although I guess you would probably need to pick Varia up because Ridley is in... We now know Ridley is in Meridia as the last boss location. So you'd probably need that Varia suit to fight Ridley. So if you came straight to wrecked ship after Criteria, you'd probably be a little bit stuck. You'd have to route back once you found Varia in Red Tower.
Yeah, because the seed is not giving you any health. It's the bare minimum. Oh, first check, though. So that would be go mode. Has gravity, has speed, has Dragon dead. So many ways to get to the Dragon boss room. And we'll see if it goes out the front door. Probably should, yeah. Being the last boss. Can follow this to East Meridia.
Yeah, we know it's going to be either Aqueduct or the elevator for Forgotten Highway.
Elevator it is. So thankfully, Dragon's dead. They can go through Cack Alley, which is gonna be faster than going all the way around to Aqueduct.
But it does mean we skip everyone's favorite space snake. Watch that.
And then this is Bonus taking a roundabout way to get to the tube. He's now back in Criteria, heading to wreck ship. Oh, 2 E-tanks in reserve. That's all you need to beat the seed. Zeb just gonna finish with this, I guess.
Yeah, it looks like Zeb is just on a mission. Finish Ridley, find Turian, game over.
Let's see. For Ridley items, Ice Beam would be a nice pickup, and Space Jump would save a bit of time, but maybe not enough to be worth getting. So I could see him go for the Ice Beam.
Yeah, it feels like Ice Beam would save enough time that it would make the check worthwhile. And I think there's there's only 3 other items outstanding, if I've done my math correctly. So I mean 25% chance.
Yeah, about that. Ice. Ice has a lot of uses in Torian. Could feel worth.
Yeah, I'm not sure the actual time save of, Ice versus PBs on the 4 Metroid rooms, but feels like it would be a pretty significant time savings and probably a good risk reward for 2-door transitions.
Zeb agrees. It's an E-tank.
Misses that
Flat
1 in 4
Chozo
gamble.
tank. Still gonna take it. Safer than having bare minimum health.
Yeah, sometimes Mother Brain just doesn't want to cooperate and will give you the most aggressive patterns.
And from here, Zeb needs to get to the moat door on Criteria. And we'll see if he feels going back through Wrecked Ship is fastest or heading through Red Tower. It's one of those questions you gotta guess an answer to when playing Area Randomizer.
I were a betting man, and I am. I would guess he's gonna head down to Aqueduct and go out Red Tower, but that's just a guess.
I would say that this is the path to Wrecked Ship.
Yeah, I was gonna say, although he's actually going back, so anyone who wants to take that bet, he would have won whatever we bet on.
Just a few missiles off for bonus. Does get the Phantoon kill. 3 bosses down. Gonna get Gravity Suit in just a minute on right side supers. Right side supers not a Chozo location, but we're counting it as a boss item. So the real location pool is Chozos plus 1 for each boss.
Yep, that right side super. It's a pretty popular spot to put the Phantoon boss item. In Major Minor, I know they swapped it up. They made that a major for the E-Tank at high jump boots. Otherwise, that high jump boot area would be stacked.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be a little imbalanced. Plus added value to Wrecked Ship.
I will say one thing about Chozo that's always struck me is just how kind of bereft of checks there are in Meridia. You've got 2, I think, Plasma and Shack Tool. Is there a third that I'm not thinking of?
The space jump, like the Dragon boss.
Right.
Hey, Ice Beam. Free Ice Beam. That one's a little farther out of the way, so it kind of cuts into the time save in coming this far.
Yeah, that could have, knowing that check was there, might have also played into Zeb's decision to come back Wrecked Ship versus heading down Aqueduct.
We're going to get to see fast Metroid rooms from Zeb, so that'll be a joy to witness. It's always fun seeing players who've practiced their Metroid rooms. They do it fast.
Yeah, there's just so many inputs as you select and cancel and just get the right beams in the right spots and the right ammo. It's it is a joy.
Yeah, and then as you get more loaded out, you get like spring ball strats added in and grapples, space jumps. Just always make them more complicated. Save those frames.
Zeb, knowing exactly where Turian is, headed down G4 and hits the elevator. And we do get a refill. This is light area rando, so the Turian elevator fully refills ammo and health. So Zeb is ready to party.
There it is, Metroid 1. Going a little slower than I would have thought. Stopping for each Metroid.
Yeah, I think the lack of space jump slows you down a little bit in that first Metroid room. Meanwhile, Bonus headed into Ridley.
An easy 30 super kill for Ridley. Accidentally hit the tail, but has spares.
And if worse comes to worse, that charge plasma will also do the trick.
It just needs to jump into the claw, and that's a dead Ridley. All 4 bosses down for Bonus now too. Let's make it back to the surface, which actually does take a bit of time, this deep in Meridia. Kind of the routing you're going for in light area is one trip through like Red Tower down to Norfair, and then come back up through Meridia side. But here they had to come back up for gravity, and that's making this Meridia check a little more awkward.
Yeah, the Chozo logic will do that sometimes. You definitely don't want cases where the logic pushes you, down to say Croc, and then back up to Wrecked Ship, and then back down to Norfair. It can happen, probably pretty rare, but Chozo does tend with light area to kind of funnel you in a particular direction.
Save is a little interesting for Zeb, since he did full clear up to this point. But still expects to be in a good enough position to take a save.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming into Mother Brain sub 50. I have to imagine Zeb's feeling pretty comfortable out of a field of 15. So I understand the safety save.
Yeah, Zeb is a top tier runner, and I'm sure he knows it. He knows that. He's just naturally playing well. And then a bad catch-up hit would instantly end the run, so you don't want that.
Using iframes to just tank that entire catch-up.
A little bit of trust in your iframes there. Still ending on just 3 E-tanks. Chozos are known for having low E-tank count, but even this is extra low.
Yeah, the early Varia was really kind of clutch. Having this low V energy for anything other than an early Varia suit would have made the seed very tough.
Or it could have sent them to Wrecked Ship sooner. Would have interesting speed routing.
Yep, definitely. Bonus just hitting that Turian elevator, so gonna get his refill and head into the Metroid rooms.
Yeah, Bonus doesn't have the ice beam, but also didn't take the time to search it out. Doing the early powerbomb strat, where the idea is you hit the Renka spawner, and that'll magically hit all the other Metroids for 1 tick. And then you just need to do 2 more power bombs to kill the rest.
The things that runners have found in this game that work through however the programming works just boggle the mind sometimes.
And here we see it again. both of the big rooms are where you're gonna see it. So Metroids 1 and 3. It's supposed to save time, but not for me.
Yeah, I always have trouble herding the Metroids and getting them all together for powerbomb strats. Especially if I have screw attack on, because they just kind of bounce off and pinball away from me.
Yeah,
Bonus gathering them all up on that last one.
way.
Sorry, go ahead.
Corralling your Metroids, a bit of a skill to practice, especially when doing this. You call it a weird trick with the power bombs. But this is gonna be Zeb heading through the end of the escape. Just had a real clean Torian throughout. Good Mother Brain fight, and already into the parlor room, second last room, and about to get in his finishing time for this big 15-person race. We'll see in just a minute how he does when we announce the time. That's
it. Your GG's in chat for Zeb316. Finishing with an official racetime.gg time of 54:13.
right. I had a hard time reading the race room for who knows why, but Zeb actually coming first overall in the race room. First on stream, first in the big 15-person race. So really well done.
Yeah, Zeb was burning through that seed, I have to say.
Yeah, like did make all the checks, but just did it really fast. Played well. Routed those like the early gain hub pathing well. That could have been a place to lose some time, but just made that look efficient.
Yeah, without that ice beam bonus, just getting hit by the Rinkas a little bit, but opts to stand in Mother Brain's glass.
Burned through most of the safety E-tank, so just 106 health to spare. Still don't want to take too many hits, but charge wave plasma. It's a 24-shot fight.
Yep, and bonus hasn't had to touch the reserve tank all game, so hopefully full. I can't imagine it's not.
Killed if just by the elevator.
Oh, that's right, the elevator refills reserve tanks too.
But doing a good job dodging these shots. I'm gonna take the manual refill. I think auto refill is faster, but it would have to damage down a little bit after that. Like on Mother Brain attacks. So
That always gets a little dicey. Mother Brain can do some weird stuff with onion rings and meatballs. Looking at the list of items and where they were from Zeb, but I think we saw pretty much everything, or could at least deduce where they were. Except for Space Jump at Plasma Beam. Runners were never going to see that, not in this seed.
Yeah, Space Jump, last item on the tracker that we don't have. Not worth the trouble to get, especially with such a late gravity.
Just a reminder to viewers, anyone who might be tuning in now, this is a race between 15 people. We're showcasing 6 people, 3 races. but it is going to be the top 12 out of 15. So, once bonus finishes, we can probably take a look at some of the standings a little bit and talk about that on stream in a little bit.
Yeah, these the featured runners, I think, were actually decided by the challenge tie-breaking system. So these are the players who had like the hardest path to get here. I believe the ranking is on how well their opponents did over the 7 weeks of Swiss.
If you played and lost to somebody with a high rank early, you would be ranked higher than somebody who either defeated easier opponents or had lesser losses.
Yeah, but then since who played who has been randomized from the start of the tournament, it wouldn't be completely fair. So another part of this race is to determine seeding. So finish order is going to matter.
It is nice. Normally, coming into a tournament like this, it's very difficult to judge for seeding when seeds are all randomized. Where you have all your runners running the same seed. That does give you something to gauge that initial tournament seeding off of.
Yep, completely fair as far as a one race goes, but it does have that randomizer factor. It just comes down to decisions in the moment. But give it up for Bonus entering the ship. Second place on the stream, and 5th place overall. GG Bonus, great finish. Official time is 59:50.
It looks like we are going to be joined by Zeb for an interview, and hopefully we'll get Bonus in here momentarily. Zeb, GG, congratulations.
Thank you. I was really not expecting to finish first with that one. Didn't actually feel... I don't know. I felt like I took way too many safeties. Didn't actually take like the greatest of routes. I didn't feel like... I thought there were some things I could have done better. Like, I think the going back through Meridia and back into Wreck Ship was pretty bad at the end. Even though it ended up kind of paying off with ice. Yeah, there were a few things that I thought I messed up on, so I was pretty surprised to finish in first on this.
We're also joined by Bonus. GG to you as well.
Thank you. GG, Zeb. Oh, am I muted?
Oh, no.
We can hear you.
You're good.
Okay.
GG.
Hear you.
Yeah. I'm really happy with how that turned out. I didn't come in thinking about it as a race versus Zeb at all, because I wouldn't be surprised if he wins the whole thing. But I wanted to qualify for the playoffs. That went really well for me, so I was happy about that.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. How did kind of you're not racing directly against one opponent, you're racing against a field trying to get top 12 out of 15. Did that change the way you approach the seed? Zeb, you kind of mentioned that you took a few safeties. How did that kind of alter your play style as if you were just racing one other person?
Yeah, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I definitely was way safer than I otherwise would be versus one person. I just really didn't want to like die and lose a bunch of time and end up not making it because of that. And I felt like, especially by the end, I felt like I had taken a good enough route to finish in the top 12, even if I took like an MB death or something. So that's kind of why I took that save at the end. I was even thinking about taking a save before, like the Wreck Ship boss, in case it was Ridley, because that wasn't like a free Ridley fight. It was not too bad, but like just not totally free, and before the Kraid boss too. But I figured I was I was unlikely enough to die that I just would go into those ones.
Yeah, and I similarly, I went into it with the idea that I would be a little more safe, a little more thorough. I made that early gauntlet check just because I didn't want to leave something behind that might turn out to be important. And it was a waste, of course, but that was the mindset I had. I want to finish in the top 12 and not worry about trying to win the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely, makes total sense. I did notice, Bonus, when you were coming out of Upper Norfair, you paused in Business Center, and I'm guessing you were thinking about whether you wanted to go check Croc or not.
Yeah, so that was the one risky thing. I was leaving behind both Croc and GT there, the front of Lower Norfair. And I knew they were there, and it was 2 checks that were both kind of slow. And I didn't have gravity yet, but I decided to risk it, and it did pay off. Not sure that I would have finished in the top 12 had I gone and checked both of those, because it really clustered together with people finishing at the end there.
Turned out to be a great call. Skipping those 2 checks saved a lot of time.
Yeah.
But then it's always scary, even at that point, to make the play to wreck ship, not knowing which boss is there.
Yeah. You saw I started to go into East Meridia, and then I realized that was too risky. Like, if Fantoon was there, I would have no way out of Precious Room. And so I decided to go, double back and hit wreck ship first instead.
Yeah, you didn't even have the spring ball that Zeb ended up finding.
Yeah.
To help through Meridia.
Yeah, that would have been nice. But...
Yeah, I was actually even considering just doing full suitless at that point, but like there are so few items left that in Chozo it's almost never right to do just full suitless unless you like have Croc and GT kind of remaining. Where you've got like multiple things on multiple sides of the map where you're like, well, I can just do suitless now. But when they're just the checks and wreck ship, and there's a chance that it was Ridley there too, because I think that logically it could have been Ridley there, with gravity behind him. So wanted to go check wreck ship after Norfair.
So with the play-in race, you both didn't know what week's settings were going to be used going in. How'd you feel when you saw week 6?
I was very happy it wasn't week 4, but this was my second least favorite week. So I was a little disappointed seeing this one, but not like super disappointed. I was just really happy that it wasn't week 4.
Yeah, this one was kind of in the middle for me. I like area, rando. Light area is okay. And Chozo, I think Chozo is interesting, and I like trying to keep track of just what the Chozo items are, and there's kind of more constrained logic because of that.
Yeah, with Chozo, you really need to be thinking a lot when you're doing these so that you don't waste a bunch of time going to a Croc that can only have power bombs or something. There's just a lot of like little traps that like sometimes you can see them and avoid them in Chozo, and it's really important to do that. So,
And coming up in the playoffs, now that you've both secured your spots, you're going to have the ability to pick a week's settings, but then also prepare for like any random settings that come up. So how are you feeling about that? Whether it's better to like focus on what you're good at or focus on overall coverage?
Honestly, I haven't thought much about the strategy of that. I'm going to have to put some thought into it. especially because I think in subsequent rounds, you're not allowed to pick a thing that you picked in a previous round. So there's some long-term strategy also.
Yeah, I think that my goal is basically to get to the top 4 to advance into like the SG Live kind of thing. Because I'm going to be there in person. But so I'm really more focused on these first 2 rounds, winning these 2. So I'm less worried about once I make it to top 4, winning that one. So I'm going to be focused on like choosing the best ones for me these first 2 rounds and not saving it for that 3rd round, really. But I think that it's probably better just to like kind of be ready for anything, because the one that I'm best at, I'm like, I mean, I think I'm already kind of like best at that one, so I don't really need to work too much more on it. But that being said, like area is my favorite thing, so I'm probably only going to be doing practice seeds for area just because I think it's more interesting anyway, because vanilla map and like light area is just less interesting to me, so it's harder to get me to practice it anyway. But
Yeah, that's fair enough. Practice what you want to practice. Have fun with it, for sure. This whole tournament is for having fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that for me, given what seed I got the 5 seed now. And I think that means that I'm going to be playing Metroid MST round 1, which will be an interesting matchup. I think for bonus, you're going to be playing Beef Robber round
Yeah,
1.
that's right.
And then round 2, if you'll be playing the winner of Nevd and Diddy Kong if you advance there.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'll be playing the winner of Asder and Bressingham, I think.
Wow. That'll be a good matchup.
Yeah, that's there's not going to be a bad race in the playoffs. It looks like they're all just going to be fire matches.
Yeah. Yeah, this tournament I think is like by far the most stacked randomizer tournament I've seen. Like I'm pretty happy just to make it into top 16 of this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I am too.
There are definitely some really good runners who didn't end up making it, so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I can speak for everyone when we say we are looking forward to watching you guys compete in the round of 16 and beyond. Any kind of final thoughts before we wrap it up here for the day?
I just want to say, regardless of how the rest of the tournament goes, I've been having a lot of fun with this, and I'm really looking forward to a potential rematch with Nefty and getting to crush him and get my revenge in the top 4, if we meet there. Although, of course, I'll have to get through the first 2 rounds first, and so will he, but really like to see another rematch there.
Yeah, that would be great. I'll echo that. I've had so much fun, and really improved a lot over the course of the tournament. I really am grateful to the organizers putting it all together, and the crews. Every single one of my races has been restreamed so far. Really appreciate the volunteers who crewed those.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny. This is actually a rematch in this restream of our week 2. Mm-hmm. It would have been funny if it were also week 2 that were rolled, so we had 2 week 2 restreams between us. But
I managed to get a little closer this time, so I'm happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, both of you both put on a great race. This whole big 15 player play-in has been exciting overall. Randomized settings and whatnot. But with that, I think we're gonna close out here. Thanks again to the runners, and again, feel free to give them a follow. They're still gonna be practicing for the remainder of the tournament now that we're into the playoff segment. And then I've been Aussie. Jestro's been on tracking for us, and then Cranberry. It's been a pleasure commentating with you.
Right back at you, Aussie.